Ondas Holdings Inc. is currently trading at 9.27 US dollars on the NASDAQ, showing an intraday gain of 0.050 or approximately 0.54% as the market processes the latest wave of defense contracts and strategic expansions. While many traders are focused on the price action of a high-flying name like Nvidia stock or looking for the next breakout in Apple stock, the movement we are seeing in ONDS today is part of a much larger structural shift that most retail investors have yet to fully grasp. You might see a small gain like this and think it is just standard market noise, but the reality is far more interesting. The expectation among many casual observers is that Ondas is simply a speculative drone company struggling to find its footing in a crowded market. The reality, however, is that this company has quietly built a pro forma cash balance of $840.4 million following its massive equity offering in October. This means the company is sitting on a war chest that actually rivals a significant portion of its own market capitalization, giving them the kind of financial flexibility that is almost unheard of for a company in this growth stage. While the broader market discusses the volatility of Tesla stock, the real story here is how a small-cap player is suddenly behaving like a well-capitalized defense prime. If you have been looking for investment help or using investing sites to screen for hidden gems, you have likely noticed that Ondas has transitioned from being a wireless radio provider into a multi-domain autonomy powerhouse. The market often views these small defense names with a healthy dose of skepticism because of their history of burning capital. But if you look closely at the recent volume, specifically the massive 125 million shares that moved just a few sessions ago, you can see that institutional interest is shifting. The common belief is that Ondas is just a drone play, yet the deeper reality is that they are integrating ground robotics through their RoboTeam acquisition and counter-drone capabilities via Centrix. This is no longer a company just selling hardware. They are building an entire ecosystem for autonomous border protection and critical infrastructure security. When you open your Fidelity mobile app or check your Robinhood app to look at your portfolio, it is easy to get distracted by the big names. However, the technical setup for ONDS shows it moving above its 50-day moving average and testing resistance levels that haven't been touched in years. This isn't just a meme run, it is a fundamental repricing based on a cleared path to significant revenue growth in 2026. The recent trading activity in Ondas has been nothing short of explosive. We saw a single session jump of over 18% recently, which caught many people off guard. If you are using Interactive Brokers or the Fidelity trading platform, you probably saw the alerts for high volume. This type of price action usually signals that something big is happening behind the scenes, and in this case, it is a series of decisive corporate actions. For instance, the appointment of General Patrick Houston as Chief Operating Officer brings a level of military and technology leadership that signals the company is ready to scale its defense and security operations globally. This isn't just about hiring a big name, it is about having someone who understands how the Pentagon and NATO partners procure technology. Many individuals who use an individual brokerage or participate in self-investing tend to miss these leadership changes, focusing only on the ticker symbol. But in the defense sector, the people in the room matter just as much as the tech in the field. This leadership change is a clear indication that Ondas is moving away from its experimental phase into a serious operational phase, where execution is the only metric that matters. As you consider your online investment strategy, it is important to understand the two main pillars of this business. First, you have Ondas Networks, which provides the private wireless data solutions. This is the backbone of their operation, particularly in the rail industry, where the Association of American Railroads has selected their technology for next-generation systems. Then you have Ondas Autonomous Systems, which houses Aero Robotics and American Robotics. The expectation was that these two units would operate in silos. The reality is that they are being fused into a unified growth engine. The recent MOU with Heidelberg in Germany is a perfect example of this. They are looking to establish European manufacturing and integration capacity. This is a massive win for their counter-UAV and ISR systems because it allows them to meet regional procurement requirements in Europe. If you are someone who likes to invest online or uses a SoFi robo-advisor, you know that international expansion is often where the most significant valuation premiums are found. ONDS is positioning itself to be a local partner for NATO and EU member states at a time when defense spending is hitting levels we haven't seen in decades. Now, let's look at the financial side, because this is where the tension between expectation and reality is most visible. In its third quarter 2025 reports, Ondas showed a revenue surge of 582% compared to the same period in 2024. While the company still posted a net loss, the gap is narrowing, and more importantly, they raised their 2025 revenue target to at least $36 million. Even more ambitious is their initial 2026 target of at least $110 million. For a company that was recently trading as a penny stock, these are bold numbers. When you are looking for investment advice or using Schwab Intelligent Portfolios, you often look for these inflection points where revenue starts to outpace the burn rate. With over $840 million in cash after their recent capital raise, they have more than enough runway to reach profitability without needing to return to the markets for more funds anytime soon. This financial stability is a massive differentiator. While other small-cap growth stocks are struggling with high interest rates, Ondas has effectively insulated itself from those pressures. Comment below how many shares of Ondas Holdings Inc. you currently hold, or if you think the defense sector is the safest place for capital in 2026. Your engagement helps us understand which sectors you want us to cover next, whether it is more on defense tech or perhaps a look at how NVIDIA stock is impacting the broader AI landscape. When you analyze the institutional activity, it is clear that some of the big players are starting to take notice. We have seen hedge funds and institutional investors like SBI Securities and Pembroke Management increasing their positions or taking new stakes. Institutional ownership currently sits at around 37%, which is a respectable number for a company of this size. If you are using Fidelity Investments or checking your SoFi investing dashboard, you might see that the moderate buy rating from analysts reflects a consensus target price that is still well above the current trading price. The market cap has grown to over $3.4 billion, yet the potential for their autonomous border protection systems, which involve thousands of drones, is only just starting to be factored into the price. They recently won a strategic government tender for such a system, acting as the prime contractor. This is a step up in the value chain. They are no longer just a subcontractor selling a few drones. They are the ones designing and deploying the entire infrastructure. This shift in the business model from hardware sales to comprehensive system deployment is the kind of reality that usually leads to a sustained upward trend in the stock price. For those of you who use the Robinhood stock trading platform or prefer SoFi active investing, the high volatility of ONDS might be intimidating. It has a beta of 2.42, which means it moves significantly more than the broader market. This is why many people prefer to hold more stable assets like Fidelity ETFs or Fidelity mutual funds. However, for those who are comfortable with self-directed online investing, the risk-reward profile here is becoming increasingly lopsided in favor of the upside. The 52-week range for ONDS is between 0.57 and 11.70. We are currently sitting closer to the high end, but the recent pullbacks have offered entry points for those who believe in the long-term defense narrative. The reality is that the demand for counter-drone technology is not going away. With the acquisition of Centrix, Ondas now has a global footprint in more than 25 countries. They are protecting major European international airports and government buildings. This is a business with real-world, mission-critical applications that are only going to grow as the world becomes more unstable. Looking at the business model in more detail, Ondas operates through its specialized pillars, Ondas Autonomous Systems, Ondas Networks, and the newly established Ondas Capital. The role of Ondas Capital is particularly interesting. They have a multi-year initiative to deploy $150 million to bring battle-tested technologies from Ukraine and other allied nations into U.S. and European production. This is a very smart move. Instead of trying to invent everything from scratch, they are taking what is already proven in high-intensity conflict and industrializing it for Western markets. This approach significantly reduces research and development risks and shortens the time to market. If you are an investor using Interactive Brokers trading or checking your Fidelity IRAs, you know that speed to market is a critical factor in the tech world. By becoming a bridge for these combat-proven technologies, Ondas is positioning itself as a central hub in the new defense economy. This is a much deeper story than just a company making